Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I enjoyed interviewing a special someone. I was able to get my hands on quite the opera just after Raw had been defeated in ESE Open for the fourth time this season. And we'll actually just bring you that interview right now. It's a lengthy one. Strap in. Strummers, and once again joined by a stable roster player here in this time Josh Crazy. What's up, man?
What's up? How's it going?
I'm all good. You just played, obviously, so question should be to you. How do you feel after that one? Obviously, a defeat, 16-8 to vice versa, the mainly Russian team on Nuke, but still some things to take away, no?
Honestly, I think the boys are pretty pleased with how the game went, just because the hour prac we had before the game and the one scrim we played last night. Our T side was pretty decent. It got messy towards the later half of the first half, so that could be worked on. And our CT we were sort of a bit lost, but apart from that, it went really well. On a personal standpoint, the game was good as well.
We've got you on screen, obviously, as a certified opper, or just an opper in general. You originally, when joining the roster, when I talked to you guys, it was kind of a thing where you were co-oping basically with Ancient, where maybe even he had it more so towards the beginning, and then you took over more and more. Now, obviously, especially with Ancient out of the roster, but even before, it felt like you had fully taken up on the op role. How do you describe that evolution of like the op role specifically in the team?
It started out when we were first trying the team, where Ancient seemed to put on a better show in our first few scrims that we played with the op, so I just gave it to him and focused on rifling. But then as we got into as we got closer to the season, we started playing more scrims, and I think our first game of Open as well, we realized that Ancient it wasn't right for the team, so I decided I would take on the op, and especially because I've got more of a flashy playstyle that's a lot more aggressive than what Ancient was playing, which I think works a little bit better with the team a lot of the time, going for first picks, being a bit more aggressive with the op on CT side now especially, and on T side trying to get first picks. But it's gone from recently being a very static opera on CT, especially Nuke, where I was sort of stuck rotating between Heaven and Ramp, to sort of being able to pick wherever I want to at this point, just telling the team, make sure everyone knows that's happened with this game, which we've just tried out, and it works quite well, so that's about it. It's not really changed too much, but...
Would you say that role could be impacted at all with Maniac and Spin coming in? Obviously, I thought you looked really comfortable on the T side today, with that op in hand on a pretty tough map to op on. But Maniac, I think he had some plays there with the op, not to mention all the other weapons. But do you think that op role could evolve even further, or do you feel like you're just it's yours to lose now, or however you want to put it?
At the moment, I think we're pretty set in stone on me opping.
Yeah.
Especially with that performance as well. Bit of a tough loss, but the game went well, and I was opening on T side, even though it wasn't too much impact. But it was a Maniac prefers rifling, I believe. So.
All right. Yeah. Well, you obviously reflected earlier on that first game, minimal prac with those new teammates as well. How would you reflect maybe on like how they looked? Because obviously Maniac put up some crazy stats. I think he had like 27 for the game, and what was it, 24 rounds or something? And obviously Spin had a couple rounds there towards the end.
Having these two new players, I think we all feel a bit more comfortable around each other. Everyone feels like they can play a bit more of an open play style instead of set positions. We went through a few defaults and it went well in scrim, and we just feel like a lot more comfortable playing with each other. As much as the CT side looked sort of sloppy and didn't look too well.
Yeah. Well, do you think Have you learnt anything from Austin? Obviously, another edition now coming in, basically just hot off the heels here, hot off the press. Where Austin as a coach, right, coming in. Have you learnt anything as to what direction he would like to go with his coaching, maybe, and with this team?
We haven't really talked too much about that because we were sort of stuck for time. But we're just gonna play it out and see how it goes. I think we want to go more towards the strats side of the thing, where as before we were trying to play like default all the time on T side. Maybe a 2 defaults on T side nuke and then the standard default on CT. And everyone was set in stone positions, which I think we want to change up a little bit and sort of play a bit more open and a bit more to our own personal like strengths.
Have would you say the expectations for like the season at all have been impacted with these new changes? Is it too early to tell?
I think it's too early to tell. Our goal is to still reach playoffs.
Yep.
Which is going to be difficult because we've completely changed our roster midway through the season. But I think we've all got high hopes because everyone on the team is a really good individual player. So once we get a few more games and probably about another week of scrims, I'd say, under our belt, I think we'll be ready to sort of take on tougher opponents.
Just to change gears a little bit, I was curious. Obviously, I watched your stream earlier in the season. You did on an Inferno game. I forget against who. Some pretty easy win. We obviously saw tonight, some of us, or last night when you're watching this, where Topple was streaming this game. I was really curious about as a general topic, when like Pov's streaming as a player in the team, do you feel like it impacts your performance at all, or like the way you play, or maybe even how you behave or calm to the team during the game, basically?
I feel it's a personal impact on me. I think it's distraction, and I really enjoy streaming, and it's something I'd like to keep doing. But I think I'm just not going to do it during officials anymore because I just got placebo effect, of which I believe it infects like my FPS and stuff. But it doesn't actually. I've done the tests, but it's also with the chat and stuff. It's just distracting, and then calming with teammates. I don't think that really changes too much. But it's just mainly the distraction, and if other people want to stream it, it means Topple can get affiliate hopefully pretty quickly, and I'll just let other people do it.
Because I know you were. It's an interesting word, just distraction. Because I know you had, especially with the chat and everything, you had like if I remember correctly, you had like some pretty strict like no looking at chat rule. You had like a big delay, like 2 minutes or something. Do you feel like that didn't help enough towards the distracting element, or like? Could you even do anything else to help with that? Because that feels like going through some great lengths to still end up with a pretty big distraction.
I think having my second monitor on could be a distraction sometimes. So being able to see my game like with a point something millisecond delay, it just I can see it in my left eye slightly, and sometimes I take my eye off the game, and I would be checking the streams to make sure it's still up and running well, and I think that's a distraction, as well as even after that 2 minutes up, when stuff does come into the chat, it's like a round and a half behind, and I'm looking at it trying to maybe update people, and I don't like doing that because it takes away my focus from the game.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I was just obviously curious about from your perspective as a player, more so than streaming it here from my home as more of a caster. But again, just to finish it off, I was thinking about how maybe you're reflecting overall then on the season so far, this open season 5 and 4, with so many changes, a little bit of turmoil as a team, and then obviously as an individual player as well, maybe.
So this is my first season of Open, so nerves were high for the first like 5 games, personally, but I think the hope is that we still play well for the rest of the season, what's happened so far is we've had a few teams that have been insane. Like we played Cat Girls at the start, who are, I think, main players that have like sort of doing like a random 5 to play open, and we've got 60 nodes. Abriosa was a finished 3k elo team, and that can be pretty it's sort of like mind games. You know, these players are insane. They've played for a long time, and that can get into your head. So that was a rough start to the season. But when we started getting the wins, it made us feel a bit better, and the season went a bit easier. And then we started to change our roster, and we're playing with Luke a lot instead of our core 5 at the time. And so that was sort of affecting us, like silly mistakes and stuff. And then we got up to our like 7th game, and we're playing against Red Pack Esports, and we went into with full confidence, expecting sort of like not an easy win, but a pretty close game, and got 16-2'd because they changed their roster a day before. From level 7s, 8s, and 9s to a full 3k elo team, and in the first round, like within the first 20 seconds, we knew they anti-stratted us when they double needed sandbags.
Oh yeah, because that was on stream as well. I remember that. Yeah. That was the craziest game. Open Classic, of course, as well, to change out like that.
Yeah, they completely changed their team as for the game against us, and they absolutely destroyed us. It's about all that happened, to be honest. And we weren't expecting it. Went in with full confidence and went out of the game feeling sort of a bit shitty, because going in on a high and then only being able to get 2 rounds. I had a few nice kills in the game, but like only be able to get 2 rounds out of that was sort of heartbreaking, you could say. But it is what it is. It's a few games ago now, so. And then we went into the Vanity Pro game, and we anti-stratted them. I think that was our first game where we done a proper anti-strat, and we came out 16-5 against a pretty decent team. I think they're also like 5-4 in open or something, so they're a good team as well. So happy with how the season's gone so far. As a team, especially with all the changes and playing with a stand-in a lot of the time, and even personally, I had a really rough and rocky start to the season. Really demotivated after the first few games, being difficult losses and having like a really low ADR. But now I feel a lot more comfortable opping, and I've had a bit of a boost going from level 6 to like level 9 on Faceit as well, so it gives that personal, like, I wouldn't say ego, but it makes me feel a bit better about playing the game.
Yeah, that's good to hear, I think. Right then, looking ahead just slightly here, next game coming up, Team Solarian. That's on Friday, the 3rd of... that's going to be a streamed one as well, 9 PM BST / 10 PM CST. And we'll see how it looks for that one, still pending video on that one. For now though, Crazy, anything else left to say? Anyone you want to shout out or call out or whatever you want to do?
Not really. I just hope we have a good rest of the season. Everything goes well, especially with our streamed games. Hopefully we don't lose really stupidly on them, but it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. Just hoping to make playoffs. That's our main goal as a team right now. Make playoffs. We don't even have to make inters. As long as we make playoffs and we sort of show what we can do, I'd be happy. And if I could prove myself as an opper as well, that would be nice.
No expletives to use for Topple?
I like Topple. Topple's a good friend.
That's good. Alright, some more team chemistry up in there. Right then, that's been it for tonight. Or whenever you are watching this. Again, next game, 3rd of August on WRAH Esports. You can follow that Twitch just right now, or follow the YouTube as well, or both. Follow the Twitter as well for when those match days come around. Same at WRAH Esports. Until then though, take care and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Nice. That went a lot better than I thought it was going to go.